Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. Malacanang says new quarantine classifications may be announced next week as authorities claim to notice a decline in the number of fresh COVID-19 cases in the country. To tell us more about this, we have Maricel Halili joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Mase, what exactly does our data on COVID-19 suggest? What is the data telling us?
Hi, Sean. Actually, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque earlier mentioned that it seems that we have a downward trend when it comes to the new number of cases of COVID-19. And he thinks that we have a longer time when it comes to doubling rates. So it's actually a good sign. But when it comes to the areas and provinces that might be under more relaxed community quarantine, they still have to discuss it among the members of the IATF. So we still have to wait. Probably within the week, they will have a new decision about the categories of the community quarantine.
All right, Mase, when you talk about new categories, are we talking about like total lifting or actual new categories? Because the last we heard is MGCQ, GCQ.
No, so far we don't have a new category of the community quarantine, but of course they have to classify which areas will be under SEQ, MECQ, GCQ, and MGCQ. Secretary Roque said that they are now closely monitoring Metro Manila, considering that NCR has the highest number of COVID-19 cases. So they have to balance whether they can have, or we can have a more relaxed community quarantine if we can be placed under MGCQ, or if there's a need for a more restricted community quarantine and go back to the enhanced community quarantine after a 15-day period of GCQ. It will all depend on their analyses of what happens to Metro Manila after the 15-day implementation of the general community quarantine.
All right, so what you're saying, just to make it really clear, Mase, we could go back to a stricter form of community quarantine, but we also could go to a lighter or less strict form. Am I getting that right?
Yes, that's right, Sean. Actually, earlier we asked Secretary Harry Roque if there's a possibility to go to MGCQ come June 16. And his answer was it's an even chances. So when we say even, there's a chance that we will be placed under MGCQ or go back to MECQ, depending on their assessment.
All right, so of course this is the matter for June, but next month is July, where every year we do wait for the President's State of the Nation address. This is on the third Monday of every July as mandated in the Constitution. How exactly is the government planning to push through with that? Are they going to do it virtually? Are they going to do it at all?
We're all curious what will happen to the State of the Nation address of President Duterte next month. But so far, Secretary Roque mentioned earlier that they're considering a blended SONA. He did not define what he meant by blended SONA, but I think it's safe to assume that when we say blended SONA, probably some of the members of Congress and the Senate will attend the session in Congress come July, and probably some of them will do it virtually, but it's not yet clear whether President Duterte will do a virtual speech come July for his State of the Nation address. This is something that will still be discussed by the officials of Malacanang.
All right, we'll wait for that. What blended means. Well, when you talk about blended, another sector comes into mind, of course, the education sector, Mase. Earlier today and as well as yesterday, we have heard Secretary Briones reiterate that face-to-face classes are not going to happen unless a vaccine or a cure for COVID becomes available. She is standing firm with this, and now her stance is right alongside or just matches with the president or the palace's stance on the resumption of classes. She also talked about blended learning, which is using alternative learning methods, going online as well, using mass media as well. What is the latest on the resumption of classes? I think a lot of parents want to hear this out.
Yes, Sean. If we recall, I think that was May 26 or 27, when President Duterte first mentioned that he will not allow a face-to-face opening of classes unless there's already a vaccine to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So, Secretary Briones, being under the President, she reiterates that she will follow whatever the President orders, which is there won't be any face-to-face classes. So now they are preparing for a blended learning. She mentioned that they have already listed 6.4 million students or enrollees since the start of the enrollment last June 1. And since June 1, they also asked the parents of the students to answer survey whether their family or the student is capable of doing online studies, meaning if they have internet connection, if they have enough gadget to do online studies. If they don't, the Department of Education is also preparing printed materials for those family who are less capable of doing online studies, and they will make these printed materials available for them. And of course, they will also tap some television networks and radio stations to do some educational program for kids who don't have access to internet. But one of the things that they are also considering is the proposal of Pasig City Representative Roman Romulo, wherein probably some of the areas that doesn't have COVID-19 cases, maybe they can consider having face-to-face classes like Siquijor and Siargao. But before doing that, the Education Department still has to ask permission from the President. Sean?
All right, thank you very much for that update. News 5's Marcel Halili joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Meanwhile, Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong tones down his stance against San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora, who is currently under fire for defying Baguio City's checkpoint protocols. Malacanang, meanwhile, reminds public leaders to practice what they preach. Pat Mangune with this story.
Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong seems to have slightly walked back on San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora's quarantine protocol breach. In a statement, Magalong urged the public to refrain from prejudging his fellow mayor, who defied Baguio's checkpoint protocol along with his entourage of 30 last June 5. Magalong says the public's displeasure over the incident is understandable, but urged them to leave the issue to the courts. For its part, Malacanang urged public leaders to set an example to their constituents by abiding to local and national safety protocols in line with the pandemic. However, presidential spokesman Harry Roque says it is better to leave the matter to the PNP.
Iniiwan po natin ang investigasyon ng kasong ito sa ating kapulisan, but I appeal to everyone, kinakailangan po magsilbing halimbawa ang lahat.
Earlier today, NCRPO Director Major General Debold Sinas ordered that 5 San Juan cops be relieved from their posts. The Metro's top cop says the 5 policemen who escorted Zamora's convoy in Baguio will be reassigned to the NCRPO's Regional Personnel Holding and Accounting Unit. The NCRPO has yet to decide if San Juan's Chief of Police will likewise be relieved.
We have relieved the PNCOs ngayon, no, kasi kahapon lang naman sila nag-report galing sa Baguio, pinag-explain na sila. It's the regional IAS ang nautusan. It came from directive from DCA. As to the Chief of Police, hindi ko pa po siya nirelieve. I will confer with the Chief PNP kung anong appropriate siya kasi kasama rin po siya sa pinag-explain po ng IAS. As to whether to leave it or not, wala pa kaming recommendations.
The Baguio police said Zamora's convoy drove past a checkpoint on Cannon Road last Friday without presenting their medical health clearances. Zamora has already apologized to Magalong, saying there was just a miscommunication at the checkpoint. The Baguio mayor earlier confirmed that Zamora's party breached the local government safety protocols, noting that no one, regardless of rank and position, is exempted from the city's checkpoint rules. For News 5, Patricia Mangune, We are One News.
We're pausing for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us here on One News. Welcome back to One News Now. The back and forth continues in Congress as they zero in yet again on the citizenship of ABS-CBN Chairman Emeritus Gabby Lopez. This time around, Lopez expressed willingness to renounce his U.S. citizenship. Let's get the details from News 5 correspondent Marian Enriquez, who is reporting to us live from Quezon City. Maan, what's up? Maan?
Ma'am Sean.
Hi. All right, we'll get back out to Maan while we fix that glitch. Meanwhile, moving on to the National Privacy Commission, or NPC, believing that the proliferation of dummy Facebook accounts may not just be a technical glitch. In an interview with One News's Agenda, NPC Commissioner Raymond Liboros said there seems to be a systematic effort to put into the creation of imposter accounts. Both the Justice Department and the Philippine National Police have ordered an investigation into the matter. In a statement, Facebook says that fake accounts that fail the company's authenticity checks will be removed. Several Facebook users, mostly coming from academic institutions, have complained of the emergence of clone accounts bearing their names.
We would really like to know the extent and depth of this activity. I was asking them earlier if this has been something that has been common. We know that imposter accounts, dummy accounts, and even cloning is one of the regular risks or threats that we encounter in Facebook. But is there a systematic effort on this one? These matters are still to be determined.
And the Justice Department has received over 100 reports from Facebook users with dummy accounts as several students reported finding their cloned or their Facebook accounts had been cloned. To give us the details, we have with us Shaila Francisco reporting to us live. Shaila, hi, where are you and what is the latest on these dummy Facebook accounts?
Several government agencies, including the National Privacy Commission and the Justice Department, are now looking into the fake accounts on Facebook. This stems as Facebook users worry about its implications.
All right, we'll try to fix that connection to Shaila as well. All right, for the meantime, let's go back to Maan Enriquez. She is covering the House hearing, the lower house hearing on the ABS-CBN franchise renewal. Today, lawmakers were grilling ABS-CBN Chairman Emeritus Gabby Lopez on his citizenship issues yet again. Maan, what happened in the lower house today? Is it still ongoing?
Sean, the House joint panels on legislative franchises and good government resumed today its investigation on the alleged violations committed by ABS-CBN on its expired franchise.
Mga isyong gusto niyang linawin. Dapat po yung araw ng kinabukasan magsusum kami alas 10:30 ng umaga.
Because it will take up more time. I'll now proceed to recognize...
The hearing, which is still ongoing, once again zeroed in on ABS-CBN Chairman Emeritus Gabby Lopez's citizenship under the 1987 Constitution. owners of media entities should be wholly owned by a Filipino. Deputy Speaker Rodante Marcoleta asked Lopez whether he is 50% Filipino or 50% American. Other lawmakers also argued whether he has dual allegiance, which is inimical to the national interest. Lopez insisted that despite being a dual citizen on account of his being born in America, he has no allegiance with the United States. He stressed he is a 100% Filipino. Lopez is a natural-born Filipino, born of a Filipino father and a Filipino mother. He said that in his 68 years of living, there has never been an issue with his dual citizenship. In his mind and actions, he says he has always been a Filipino. It's only now that the technicality of his being a dual citizen is being raised against ABS-CBN. Recall that the Justice Department has stated that Lopez was born a Filipino citizen because his father and mother are Filipino citizens, and that his use of his U.S. passport is not a reason for him to lose his Filipino citizenship. Also, the DOJ said his not having a Philippine passport would also not be a reason for him to become a non-Filipino. Let's listen in on some of the arguments raised by Lopez and Marcoleta.
All my life, I have considered myself a Filipino. I grew up in the Philippines. I went to school here. I pay my taxes here. I vote here. I've done everything in the Philippines. My being a U.S. citizen is strictly a consequence of my father's going to school in America. So why should an accident of nature be a defining issue about whether I'm a Filipino or not? Shouldn't it be based on my actions and what I have done?
But that will not change the fact that you are still an American. That's the very issue. Kaya ang tanong lang po napakasimple, napakalaking sakripisyo ba na i-renounce ninyo ang inyong pagiging Amerikano?
Hindi
Yes
po.
or no?
Para hindi tayo mapula ng ibang sa opisina. Ito, kausapin mo si Mariana.
Sean, Lopez also said that he is willing to surrender his U.S. passport and renounce his U.S. citizenship. Sean.
All right, thank you for that update. News 5 correspondent Man Enriquez reporting to us live from the Batasang Pambansa in Quezon City. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. I'm Sean Yao, and we are One News.